On My Block's fourth and final season came and went. It happened. It concluded a series that I've loved, and I've got a lot of thoughts about them, so here they are. So let's just start talking about this show. Spoiler free here. On My Block's third season, I will spoil. I think that's fair to talk about anything that has happened kind of up until this point. It obviously ends with a big thing that Caesar, Monse, Jamal, and Ruby go their separate ways. Monse is going away to school, and she basically asks her friends to promise that nothing's going to change between them.
Nothing's going to change.
Things do change quite a bit. We see a whole different friend group going into the fourth season. How does this season deal with that? Well, I think it has its really high points, but it also sort of feels like it is a little rushed, and it feels like we could have gotten more out of it. The first half of the season, there's kind of a lot of tension between the group. Jamal doesn't want to talk to Monse. Ruby and Jamal are going at each other, really treating each other poorly. They're like rivals. Caesar is mad at his brother, Oscar. Oscar has dropped the gang life. Caesar has really taken it on. Oscar thinks Caesar needs to just take it easy, take a step back, and realize that he doesn't have to be in this life. Caesar thinks Oscar has completely turned his back on what he grew up on and what he knew. Jamal has become this popular kid, big deal. All the girls love him. He's a popular football player. He's kind of cocky, feeling himself. And Ruby and Jasmine have really taken their love that they've been holding in and taken it full forward, and they're dating and they're doing things. And there is definitely some toxicity in their relationship as well. This season picks up where I thought the show could have perfectly ended. I wouldn't have minded that little bit of a cliffhanger, that crazy plot twist where everything changes at the ending of 3 last year. I wouldn't have minded that being the conclusion. I don't mind that we got this fourth season because I enjoyed it and I enjoy the show. But once it was all said and done, I thought that it was just a pretty decent season, but it didn't stand out in an amazing way. So without spoiling anything, eventually you know that they're gonna sort of get back together. I'm not gonna give you any context here. Like I said, I got you. This is spoiler free. I'm simply saying that Ruby, Jamal, Jasmine, Monse, and Caesar all do cross paths in season 4. They do talk to each other. Things happen. What happens, you'll have to see. But I found that the build-up was a little more exciting and interesting than I don't know what you would really call it, but as we go down into the climax, to the end of the season, I just wasn't as impressed. I wanted a little more excitement and drama. In that drama, it gets very intense and serious with the gangs, the Santos and the Prophets, and the tension between them, and living in that area where gang life is so prevalent. And of course, Ruby has some PTSD, and Caesar was born and raised into that life, and he ended up really taking it on. Like I said, Oscar has a wife now and a baby on the way, so he doesn't want to be part of that. And they do some really interesting things in season 4 where we see the tension between the brothers. It's quite heartfelt too, because Oscar and Caesar have always been there for each other. Oscar's really been such a parent to Caesar, having, not really been in a relationship with their father. He does such a good job still at sort of defending his younger brother and trying to help him find his path, even though Caesar has admittedly being kind of an asshole this season. There's a very clear distinction, I feel, in the first half and the second half of On My Block season 4. And the second half, while it doesn't fall apart, it doesn't have a bad ending by any means, it just, to me, it feels a little bit lackluster. It feels like there's not as much of a draw and an excitement. It's tough to see a series end, obviously, especially a show that you love. This is one of my favorite shows. I love On My Block. I've spoken about it to other people. I've spoken about it in other videos on this channel. And the thing is, it just, knowing that it's over is disappointing. But it ends on a pretty good note. It definitely has a strong, emotional, fitting ending. Some things happen that will hit you emotionally. But it just, once it was all said and done, about 5 hours of TV, it felt a little rushed. I think that's unfortunate. If On My Block had 1-hour episodes, we would have gotten more story to tell. I think we would have gotten more, I call it excitement. I think good drama within the gang life is really interesting. And I think that you'll find what I'm talking about as you see it. Again, no spoilers, but On My Block's 4th season kicks things off with a lot of this gang life, with Caesar being ahead of the Santos and everything. And I don't know, once it kind of wraps up certain elements, and once we start to see some things come together and we get down to the ending of the season, things just sort of change and almost feel like they just conveniently almost go back to how they were. These friends, Ruby, Jamal, Monse, and Caesar all have been so close with each other, and they've had this bond that you see can never truly be broken, but there are so many things that test it. This season's highlights are a few story elements that I can't talk about because they're spoilers. I think that everybody has great talent behind them, while sometimes the writing feels like it's delivered in a way that is just a little cheesy, and some things are kind of stupid. Some of the humor is not always gonna land, but generally speaking, it's a funny show, and I found that season 4 still capitalizes on its ideas of being funny, and Jamal being really funny in particular. Abuelita also stands out, as she always has. Her and Jamal have a good bond over the show. So those are characters that I think stands out. Jasmine is pretty funny as well, though sometimes a little over the top. One thing that this season does really strong, which I am happy to say, as it is the final season of a series, is it gives a sense of closure to everybody. You'll see it. Literally all the main characters have a certain sense of closure. You'll have to wait and see what that is about. You know, everybody has something that's defining to them and something that sort of wraps things up. Basically, On My Block's 4th season succeeds at, giving us this fun relationship between these characters that has a lot of drama in between, and we see the story of friendships being broken apart by the natural ways of teenage life and just life in general, but also how they sort of somehow will try to find their way back. It's got some pretty emotional moments, and there's a lot of fun to be had, but admittedly, there's a couple of plot holes that you're not gonna know about yet. But once the series ends, literally the series, not just the season, right? This is the ending of a show. I'm a little disappointed by a couple of the things that are just left unsolved, just sort of they weren't addressed enough. And I wanted a little more out of it. It feels a bit of a rush season, which is a shame because it's the finale. But if you guys enjoyed season 1, 2, and 3 of this show, and you've been a loyal fan, you've loved these characters and stuff, there's no reason not to watch it. It's only 10 episodes, 30-minute episodes, give or take. It's a fun binge. I definitely had no intention of dropping this show, even though that conclusion of season 3 was so strong and it had a sense of finality. I still enjoyed season 4, just a little disappointing, but those are my thoughts. That's kind of my review of On My Block season 4, the final season of a series that I quite like. How about you guys, though? Let me know in the comments below. Did you guys watch season 4 of On My Block on Netflix? What'd you think? Were you disappointed? Were you impressed? Did you get a sense of closure yourself? Did you like where the stories went? Just try to keep it spoiler-free, please, because this is a review, a discussion to people who have not yet seen it and they want to know about how it is and they don't want to be spoiled. But I do have every intention of making a spoiler cast, spoiler-filled video, something like that about this. Yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for me, guys. Let me know your thoughts about this final season in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time here. If you didn't like this video, thumbs down. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe for more. Like I said, spoiler talk on the way. Also got some other fun videos I'm planning for some other Netflix content, other TV shows, things like that. All right, thank you again. I'll see you guys all in the next video.